Are you looking for that big bloom? The big bloom? Probably not. But if you live in Texas, the bluebonnet season is probably over. Good evening and welcome to Give Me a Break. I'm John the Carmody. If you're driving along I-37 here in Texas, you might have noticed there's no bluebonnets in that area. Not much bluebonnets. Why? Well, here's Tony Halamir.
It's unsettling because that's part of Texas. And when you don't have your bluebonnets, it's not the same.
Springtime staple in Texas is looking a little sparse this year. Bluebonnets, usually blanketing highways and parks, are harder to spot around Corpus Christi this wildflower season.
There is a significant reduction in bluebonnets all across South Texas. You drive along the roadways, you'll see a few here and there. Usually we're seeing entire blankets of bluebonnets.
The drought that started last fall has stunted the flower's growing cycle.
And that's when many wildflowers are germinating. They'll become small plants, and then when spring rains come, those plants go from being dormant to growing very quickly and putting out flowers.
Executive Director of the South Texas Botanical Gardens, Michael Womack, says, "We may see a few more blooms, just not the sea of blue we've come to expect. For Texans, these are more than just flowers."
It kind of breaks up the monotony when it's out there because you really see them growing and stuff.
They're just what Texas is about is your bluebonnets.
Michael Womack says it's not just the bluebonnets that didn't produce a high yield this spring, mentioning other wildflowers also suffered from the ongoing drought. On the south side, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Tony Jaramillo, Chris 6 News.
And that's what we blame nowadays. All we blame is that drought. And because of the drought, we're still focusing on the water restrictions that are happening. And believe me, I want to be on. If it would be another GMB broadcast, it'd be with me, Tony Halamir, my good friend Tony Halamir, and not only that, we'd be doing a broadcast live at the Bluebonnet Trail. How about talking? Yeah, Now, I wouldn't be talking about Blue Line Trails, it's a non-powered organization here in Texas that only happens if you're ordered by truancy court. I'm talking about standing on a field of bluebonnets. Wouldn't that be nice?
Now, 6 things.
All right, here's 6 things that you need to know.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
In the 6 things you need to know, gas prices rose again this past week, and it was a bigger jump than the previous week. AAA says gasoline jumped by more than 10 cents to $3.26 a gallon this past week. It says refinery maintenance and the switch to a summer blend are among the factors driving the increase. The last time the national average for a gallon of regular gas was $3.26 was in September. AAA says that's consistent with seasonal shifts, and it says current prices remain below the levels seen this time last year. Right now in your neighborhood, according to GasBuddy.com, the cheapest gas is $2.52 a gallon. The Corpus Christi Police Department need your help identifying an aggravated robbery suspect. According to police, on March 16th, this man stole a case of beer from a convenience store on Alameda Street. When the clerk confronted him, the man fired a shot from a handgun. The suspect then took off in a dark-colored car. If you have any information, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 361-888-TIPS. The power is back on at the Broadway Tower office building on North Upper Broadway. Our neighborhood news reporters have been on top of this story, and the power was turned off at 3 a.m. Tuesday, and tenants were sent letters stating electricity would be restored on Wednesday. We checked yesterday and confirmed the electricity is back on. As we reported, Broadway Tower had other issues with utilities. Seventh-day Adventist Church will be hosting their 2nd annual community health fair this weekend. It will take place on Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. at Cole Park. You can stop by and get free health screenings, including cholesterol, blood pressure, and diabetes, along with information that can help you achieve your health goals. In honor of Lent, Our Lady of Perpetual Help is hosting their annual Lenten Fish Fry. The fish fries will take place today and next Friday from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Plates cost $12, and you can choose from fish, shrimp, or a combo plate. You can even get your plate delivered. Our Lady of Perpetual Help is located at 5830 Williams Drive, and all proceeds benefit the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Academy. The Gregory Portland High School and middle school bands have made district history. The 6 bands spread across the 2 schools competed in the UIL site reading evaluation, where each band performs a set of songs, then must perform songs they see for the first time. And this year's competition marked the first time all 6 school bands competed, and it was a successful first year. Each band scored straight ones across the board, bringing with them 6 new trophies. Neighborhood News reporter Adam Beam sat down with those students, and you can catch that story tonight on 6 p.m. right here at Chris 6.
Now that's the 6 things that you need to know before you head out the door. So, cheapest gas ever is $2. Probably not that bad, but we're gonna let it slide here. And even then, you wanted to get gas, even if you were to be attacked by... Nah, not yet. You wanted to get cheaper gas, it'd be better if you could get like a little gas tank filled up with oil and fill your car up. Or you'd better than watching a Terry Clark music video where she just ran out of gas, and then all of a sudden walk to the gas station to fill up that gas and walk back to her car where someone freaking hot-wired it. Wow. Just wow. Coming up, a National Geographic profile all about the bears. Not the country bears. I do mean actual bears. We'll let John Larson explain. Please stay with us. You may remember on our season 6 premiere, we focused in on a controversy that led to country artists and even talk show hosts that led to one song being talked about all over the media. The song that I'm talking about is Try That in a Small Town. There is now new developments into this. We're now hearing from the writer who wrote that song, and he posted about the article just 2 months ago from iHeart.com. And for the very first time, he tells iHeartRadio why this person wrote that song. His name is Neil Thrasher. That's right. Neil Thrasher. He wrote that song. And according to iHeartRadio, which we're going to read right now, songwriter Neil Thrasher recalled the story behind Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town and following controversy when he caught up with brother duo Dan and Reed Isabel in a recent episode of God's Country. Thrasher is a songwriter and host of Try That in a Small Town broadcast. The series inspired by the 2023 single. Thrasher and a few songwriters by the name of Kelly Lovelace, Julie Kennedy, and Kurt Allison launched a podcast to reveal the true inspiration behind the song to discuss the importance of common sense values with a lineup of influential guests. The host will entertain you with the stories behind their music while also addressing challenging topics affecting our communities and country description needs. Dr. Sagan initially thought nobody was going to cut it, but he knew he and his co-writers had to write it. We had to write it, Dr. said before long. He knew there was only one person on planet to sing that song. It took as much time for him to listen to the song before he said, I'm cutting this. The song I'm hearing Howling's 14-track album Highway Desperado in 2023. It also included Tough Crowd, Lunch Boys, and Country Boys, Whiskey Drinking More. He recalled the story behind the song, the music video, and the reactions they received during a conversation with Isabel Brothers. And I think that's what he talked about in that podcast.
From God's Country. Are you on the hunt for good quality meat and seafood but can't seem to find what you want at the butcher or seafood counter?
It's just an hour-long podcast.
He was walking that morning watching the news, and they were showing that what was going on in New York City at the time. And these people were coming up and hitting people just for no reason. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, just knocking them out. And Halo's watching this while he's walking. And he's getting pissed. And he's like, and he said it just hit him. He's like, try that in a small town, MFer. And he goes, oh. And so he calls me. Says, we ain't playing golf today. And he told me the title. And I go, guy's so freaking awesome. I said, nobody's gonna cut it. I said, but I did say, we have to write it.
Yeah.
We have to write it.
Wow.
We got through about a verse and about a half a chorus, and we had the melody pretty much going. And I said, we need to call Tully and Kurt. I said, there's only one person on the planet that would even say this.
Yeah.
We sent it to Aldine, they did, and it took about as much time for him to listen to the song to get back with them. He said, I'm cutting this. Anyway, and then the video came out.
Yeah.
And all hell broke loose.
It
and
sparked it.
and Whoopi Goldberg and all them on the View are calling us, and the Aldine and the songwriters must be a bunch of racists. And I'm like, where are you getting that from?
If anything,
Where'd they get that from?
Because it fits their agenda.
Absolutely. We know why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody knows why they're doing it. They can't stand Jason anyway because he's a Trump supporter.
right.
They can't stand because he's a Trump supporter? Are you freaking insane? If you support Trump, you support Trump. Whether you like it or not, you will not, whether he's president or not, you don't disrespect people. If you don't like that somebody, they don't talk about it. If you're a Trump supporter, then be a Trump supporter. If you're not a Trump supporter, then you might as well talk about Trump in any way, shape, or form you want to. Even if it means you won't be deported while you're talking shit about him. While you're being gagged with an apple like you're being spun on a rotisserie chicken. Or even better. You're being blindfolded. While you're being blindfolded and kidnapped. Please. No, I'm sorry, Mr. President. I didn't mean to talk shit about you. Please stand me back. I told you. And the kidnapper's like, I told you to freaking tape his mouth shut. You bit. I told you you bit me. That's what it would be like. Undercover investigators would even gag you and kidnap you. Where's the rope? Where's the duct tape? Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 wow. It'd be like trying to twerk in front of the TV while you're being kidnapped, and your husband saying, I'm not the daddy, while you're twerking. And then you go on more and be like, I caught her twerking for the TV. And you're sitting there watching the episode and going, oh my God, what a life.
Tonight.
All right. Coming up, a story about bears. No, not the controversial cocaine bear. Yo mama's so high when she goes camping, the bears hide cocaine from her. You know what they said? Stay off them drugs. It's a National Geographic exclusive you probably don't want to miss, so please stay with us. Are you ready, boys and girls? Get your Explorer helmets on. Tonight, we're going exploring. What are we going to explore, you might ask? The bear. I'm a bear. We're going to Yosemite Park. That's right. If you are aware there are bears in Yosemite Park, you may want to be like, oh my God, we're going to die, I'm going to die. That's when you'd be like, oh my God, we're going to die. And even then, even then you won't even be like snorting coke with the bear. And then you feel, you're high while the bear's all like, ugh. Here's John Larson with tonight's National Geographic Explorer. I run out of jokes.
They're wild animals, spectacular wild animals that we want to keep wild.
They are simply one of the most beautiful reasons to visit national parks. The American black bear, while not a grizzly bear, it is powerful, mythical, and at times downright cute. But behind the photo op for the family vacation is a disturbing, more tragic story. It's a story of violence, growing frustration, and now an improbable solution.
So do you have a bear problem here, or do you have a people problem? We have a people problem.
It didn't start out that way. Bears have lived in Yosemite National Park in California for, well, a few 100,000 years longer than we have. But we arrived in droves. Now, in the heart of the park, a 2-square-mile valley bordered by steep mountains. On a typical summer day, people outnumber bears by about 700 to 1. The people come for the scenery. The bears, they come for all the food the people bring. And that's where the problem lies. You see, bears will do anything for our sweet, salty, fatty food. Anything.
So they have a choice between berries, acorns, and nacho-flavored Doritos. What do they take? They'll take the Doritos every time. Okay, stay back.
Steve Thompson is a wildlife biologist in Yosemite. Most of the time, that means studying bears, tracking their movements with radio collars and tags. But he's also in charge of bear management, a contradiction in terms at worst, a difficult job at best.
Once they're exposed to human food, it completely changes their behavior. They become more and more aggressive, they become more and more destructive.
Imagine an animal weighing up to 400 pounds that can sprint almost as fast as a greyhound and climb a tree like a cat. And while black bears usually won't attack people unless surprised or provoked, they are very powerful. They can rip the door off a car and will do so if there's food inside.
So can they break into a Hyundai? Easily. Dodge Caravan. I haven't seen a car that a bear cannot break into. Even a Beamer. Even a Beamer.
Bears have been into cars for as long as there have been cars in Yosemite. But in 1997, there was a disturbing change. Bears became more aggressive. A then record number of break-ins. $600,000 in damages. Thompson and his team knew that not only would something have to be done, but at worst, if a bear stole too much or threatened tourists, the rangers would have little choice but to kill it.
We didn't get into this profession because we like to kill animals. Anytime we're forced into that decision, it's a sign of our failure. And it's not just the failure, it's that we failed them.
Some area residents and hunters say killing problem bears is the most efficient way to deal with the situation. And 2 years ago, Thompson faced a difficult decision with a bear called Miney.
We started seeing Miney and her cubs relatively early in the season last year in the campgrounds.
Kate McCurdy is a wildlife biologist who works with Thompson. Together, they keep sort of a police blotter for Bruin.
She would get stuck in dumpsters. She would break into cars. She would go into the campgrounds and intimidate campers until they left their food.
Miney had learned this behavior from her mother. Unlike this bear, Miney's mother, called Swatter, taught Miney and her other cubs to dig into tents and cars in search of food. Thompson and his team tried moving them 3 times to remote parts of the park. Nothing worked. The final straw, Swatter injured a camper.
It was like a scene out of Dante's Hell. And we saw her almost hit several people that night, swat at them.
And then she came for you.
Then she came for me.
The decision was made. The Rangers killed Swatter, but spared the cubs. And sure enough, in the spring, Miney, now grown, showed up with her own cubs and began teaching them the finer points of burglary. Miney and her cubs kept getting in trouble. By late fall, they'd broken into at least 50 cars, and all 3 were charging at people who got in their way.
We used a dog to try to chase her away, pepper spray, slingshots. You shoot stuff at her? Shoot stuff at her, which people might think is inhumane, but we wanted to save her life. We were trying to save her life.
But nothing would stop Miney. She and the cubs were getting just too dangerous, and the Rangers decided she would have to be killed. And this time, there would be no sparing the cub.
We were forced into the decision to kill them all, which was probably the hardest decision I've ever had to make as a wildlife biologist.
But here it is. See that car moving? There's your bear.
And unfortunately, it failed to stop the problem.
You see him, Al?
When spring came last year, more bears picked up where Miney and her cubs had left off.
So make sure you store your food.
So that's when folks at the Park Service realized there was only one way to change bears. The only thing left to do, and they believed the right thing, was to try to change people. They launched an all-out effort to get people to remove all food, even toothpaste, from their cars and place it in what they believed would be bear-proof boxes.
If you could just initial here that I told you about the bears.
Now you can't check into a hotel or a campsite without getting the bear lecture.
If we do have bears around, they will do quite a bit of damage to your car if they think they...
But would it change anything, human or bear? At first, it looked like the answer was no. Humans, it seems, are creatures of habit too, and continued to leave food in their cars. And bears weren't getting the message either.
All right, you guys, let's all back up.
Soon after we left, this bear, called Jody, was found wandering the halls of a park hotel. She'd gotten too comfortable among humans, a death warrant for a Yosemite bear. Jody was one of 3 bears killed by rangers in 1998. In fact, despite all the rangers' efforts, by the end of last year, the bears had broken into 1,100 cars, done more than $630,000 in damage, the worst year the park ever had.
Bear managers don't celebrate New Year's. They celebrate the first snowfall that drives bears into hibernation. And it was a horrible year.
And this year looked even worse. By March, bear incidents were already on the rise. Kate and Steve braced themselves for another grim season of break-ins and dead bears.
We owe it to them to protect them better. And it's a tragedy when we let them down.
A big concern? More mama bears were bringing their cubs into the campgrounds for food, just like Miney did 2 years ago. And this year, one of the most active culprits, Miney's sister, Eenie. This is Eenie last year.
Yeah, I guess this is Miney's sister, so we're going to want to radio call her.
A scrawny 5-year-old that rangers believe to be harmless. But here she is this year, now the mother of 2 cubs, and continuing her family's dangerous tradition of cruising campgrounds for food. If they become too great a threat to humans, Kate says she'll have no choice but to kill them.
There she goes.
But there was good news this year. Congress stepped in and gave the park an additional $500,000. Rangers installed better locks on food storage areas, and more rangers were hired to help spread the word.
Just want to stop by and remind you about your food.
And the increased effort may have turned things around.
Good evening.
Bear break-ins are down by more than half, and damages are running about $160,000, just a fraction of last year's total. Visitors finally seem to be bear-aware, removing food from their cars and campsites.
It's a real challenge for people to be around bears without affecting the behavior of bears. If the world wants to be able to have bears as part of our ecosystem, we need to figure out how to be together.
And we can figure out how to be together just by being one.
Hey, boo-boo, let's figure what's coming up next on Give Me a Break.
Okay, Yogi.
Would you tell the honest joke? Would you tell the honest, boo-boo?
I'd be glad to, Yogi. Coming up next, a Dateline exclusive. Into football. No, not that. An exclusive look into NFL players and basketball players, but they don't want you to know.
That's right, boo-boo. And Bob McEwen has that Dateline exclusive when the company comes back with Give Me a Break.
Thank you, Yogi. Thank you. Thank you, Yogi, and thank you, Boo-Boo. Please stay with us.
Hey, boo-boo, did you ever play some football growing up?
Man, Yogi, I spent a lot of time with you catching picnic baskets.
Oh, yeah, right, boo-boo.
But in all seriousness, heroes, we all want to be on that pedestal as a hero. But would that hero ever be caught on videotape trying to make bribes? Tonight, you're going to get a chance to see those in this Give Me a Break Dateline exclusive. Here's Bob McEwen. Oh, let me know what you think of my Yogi Bear impression.
Hey, boo-boo, let's watch this Dateline segment from Mr. Bob McEwen.
Okay, Yogi, I got the picnic basket right here. Here's Bob McEwen.
Wait, hold on. Steve has the floor. If you have a point, I will write your name down and I will get to it. So let's make things in order.
Tapes from this union meeting are so sensitive.
The biggest problem we have with substance abuse,
that the union doesn't want you to hear them. In fact, they're so potentially explosive.
I'd like to have the right to fire him in 3 years.
That the union issued a subpoena to NBC for our only copy of the tapes. Because this is no ordinary union. These are the rank and file of professional football, where the average worker is a millionaire, and where union cards read NFLPA, the National Football League Players Association.
When the player representatives from each NFL team met with the union brass in Hawaii back in 1995, it was pretty much business as usual, except for one thing that had never been done before. They had a camera taping the proceedings, recording for posterity when union leaders and players fought with each other, when they badmouthed their enemies, and most embarrassing, when they disclosed drug secrets and backroom deals they likely never thought would be heard outside that meeting, much less on national TV.
The real purpose for taping the meeting was to make a feel-good informational video, similar to this one.
The NFLPA strives to reach out in a positive light,
designed to buff the image of the union for its members.
Is that what they wanted?
It makes you teary-eyed.
The lilting soundtrack and the poetic thoughts.
It was going to be a half hour or whatever of that.
Mike Freeman, pro football writer for the New York Times, was the first journalist to see the tape.
They got something that's completely different, something that they're horrified by.
Horrified, because rather than the video Valentine they'd intended, what you see on these tapes are the uncensored words of players and union officials, their true feelings about the state of their union and the NFL.
We came in $51,000 over budget. What is a budget? A projection. That's all it is, a projection. 51 grand. Damn, y'all pay more than that in taxes in majority.
So how did it come to this? How did the proceedings of a confidential labor meeting get splashed across the headlines of the New York Times and broadcast tonight here on Dateline?
I'm a small producer, independent producer.
The reason for that is this man, filmmaker Steve Brown, who was asked to tape the meeting in Hawaii, part of a larger deal he says he had with the Players Association, and for which, he insists, he expected to be paid.
And did you ever get paid?
Never.
To this day?
To this day.
According to Brown, after 3 frustrating years of non-payment, he sent the union a letter in 1997 demanding $300,000 for past work and threatening that if payment was not received in 5 days, he would sell the tapes of the meeting, warts and all. In their response to Brown, lawyers for the Players Association called that extortion and in turn threatened to file criminal charges.
When you read the letter, and it says not only are you not going to get paid, but we may file criminal charges against you for extortion, what goes through your mind?
Fear. Absolute fear.
More fear than most people would feel, Steve Brown says, because of what the Players Association knew about his past and what it could mean for his future.
If you've been in prison and you know that you can go back and face life without parole, if they could do what they're saying in that letter, that shook me to the core.
That's right. The man the union chose to work on its public relations videos served time in prison. 7 years, in fact, for drug smuggling conviction. Brown says that he told the Players Association about his criminal record, including a prison escape, and that they were willing to take a chance on him anyway. Now, a decade after his release, with no criminal problems since, Steve Brown feared he could lose everything if the union got him charged with a crime that could jeopardize his parole.
Now what is the problem? Why can't we get past this?
So what exactly is it on these tapes that could trigger such strong feelings, tough talk, and drastic action?
No one's ever seen what they do at these meetings. They're very secretive. No media is ever allowed in.
And here's one reason why. Listen carefully to what this union financial expert tells the players.
If you want to know how to beat the cap, you can talk to Mark, you can talk to me, and we can come up with the ways to deal with it.
That statement may sound innocuous enough, but what the union official seems to be saying could be an attack on the very economic foundation of professional football, the salary cap, the maximum amount NFL teams are allowed to spend on players each year. According to Mike Freeman, that seemingly casual offer to help players beat the cap may have ominous implications.
I know this has happened. A team will leave, a bag of cash for a player as a bonus. Instead of going with the real signing bonus that counts against the cap, they evade that by giving them cash under the table.
So best case then would be beating your team's accountants, and the worst case would be beating the IRS and maybe the tax law.
That's right.
If that interpretation is correct, there could be serious consequences for the union. Though an NFL spokesman said it is very difficult to prove violations of the salary cap, he pointed out that if discovered, breaking the rules could result in substantial fines of $2 million per team and $250,000 for each player involved.
One real important note, the alcohol policy for violations of law remain in effect.
But the most revealing statements on these tapes involve substance abuse by NFL players. For years, the League and Players Association have said they are dedicated to fighting illegal drugs. But here, Union executive Doug Allen is talking about something rarely addressed in NFL circles, and almost never in public. Alcoholism.
Necessary because, frankly, gentlemen, in this league, the biggest problem we have with substance abuse is not marijuana and not cocaine, but alcohol.
Now, was that a revelation when you heard it?
Oh yeah, that's one of the most stunning things that any reporter in my business has ever seen, if they're honest with themselves, because someone is finally, after all these years of the NFL denying it, all these years of the union denying it publicly, now someone is finally admitting that alcoholism is a problem in the NFL.
The tapes do show union officials warning players to follow the rules on alcohol and drugs.
That a player who ignores this program is going to get bit by it.
But perhaps the most startling moment of the entire meeting also shows the union leadership apparently working to undermine those very same anti-drug rules.
The bombshell was that 16 players who should have been suspended would not be.
It came at a time when the league was moving from one substance abuse policy to another.
I will tell you that there were a number of players who were notified of suspensions under the old policy, and those suspensions were held in abeyance until we got this new policy done, and we convinced them not to suspend those players.
What's the tone that you hear there?
He's bragging. He's bragging before his player reps, before his people.
What union executive Doug Allen is admitting on these tapes is that the union had negotiated with the league that players who had flunked NFL drug tests be allowed to just walk away and receive no penalty at all.
So it's not that we got them into treatment, it's that we avoided suspension.
We help them keep their paychecks, we help them make more money, keep their money. He's not necessarily saying, well, is it right that these players get a break? Is it the good thing for them? He's saying that we got them off, and that's the union's main concern.
In a statement to Dateline, the NFL confirmed that discipline of the players was deferred during collective bargaining. But then, under the new program, the NFL added that all 16 players were tested regularly, treated by professional counselors, and subject to suspension upon any further violation.
They got off scot-free. They went from the old policy, in which they should have been suspended, some for a year, into the new policy, in which their whole history was basically wiped clean.
But there's another bombshell, one the NFL and the union have publicly denied for years, that star players have gotten preferential treatment when they were caught using drugs.
So we're giving a number of players a chance to do better. And we did that because the old policy was unfair. It treated players differently if they had the same situation, and often depended on how the club felt about you and what kind of player they thought you were. And
You just heard the union's second in command blowing the whistle on what he said was a double standard in the National Football League. Harsher consequences for drug violations by bench warmers than by all pros. The NFL denied any preferential treatment. And in a letter to Dateline, the Players Association declined to answer questions about anything shown on the tapes. Tapes that NBC purchased from Steve Brown. The union said NFLPA meetings are confidential under our Constitution, and we are duty-bound to protect that confidentiality. We also have ongoing litigation with Mr. Brown, in which we will prove that Mr. Brown has acted illegally by providing videotapes of our confidential meetings to outsiders, including NBC.
Can you appreciate the irony of this saga? That here you've got the NFLPA trying to make a tape that's going to make them look as good as they can look. And it blows up in their face that they hired a former drug smuggler to do it. And the headlines are the NFLPA and drugs.
That is very ironic, yes. I've thought about that a lot. And I bet you the unions thought about it a little bit too. I think they wish that they would have taped it, gotten what they needed out of it, and then gotten rid of the tapes, put them in a safe, put them in the ocean. I think now they're looking at this going, I can't believe it got to this point. I can't believe it.
A U.S. Senate committee has watched the videotapes and is investigating why those 16 football players went unpunished for failing drug tests when they should have been suspended.
Hey, boo-boo, you think those picnic baskets are laced with druggies?
I don't think so, Yogi. I double-checked them.
Really?
Yeah, Yogi.
Scooby? Sniff that picnic basket, will you please? Would you do it for us, Scooby Snack?
How about 2 Scooby Snacks?
Whoopie-doo!
Okay. When we raise the common sense alert here? How about this? No drugs in football, no drugs in wrestling, no drugs in basketball, soccer, any sports. If you're going to participate in a sport, football, you have to pass drug tests. If they let you get away with taking drugs, you walk the hell away from here. And if you're suspended of taking drugs, then suspend the players. Don't go out of your way and say, you took drugs, it's alright, you can play. It's reasonable suspicion. You don't wave that right around and say, okay, I don't care, I'm cool with people taking drugs. You would have been like Conan trying to resist arrest. I'm resisting here. Really, it's resisting arrest. But the bottom line here is this: drugs bad, drugs bad, drugs bad. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. Heads or tails, good or bad, good and evil. If you had to choose, what would you choose? Would you choose faith over health or health over your faith? For one person we join me tonight, she had to make a courageous decision for her faith or for medical reasons. Why would that be? Here's Robert Brazell.
Our purpose is not to kill ourselves. We're not here to be martyrs. We want to live just like anyone else. We enjoy life on this earth.
18-year-old Stacy Singletary may not want to be a martyr, but she is about to make an extraordinary sacrifice few people might understand. A choice between her religious beliefs and a medical procedure she desperately needs. A massive tumor is growing in Stacy's brain. The surgery to remove it would be perilous for anyone, But for Stacy, it would be especially life-threatening. Stacy, her father Stanley, and her mother Cassandra are Jehovah's Witnesses.
We depend on what Jehovah says. We do what Jehovah says, no matter what.
Jehovah's Witnesses are a Christian church of 5 million worldwide. While they accept most other forms of medical care, they believe that Jehovah, God, commands that blood transfusions are wrong, even if they can save lives. Stacy is so debilitated she can barely talk, but there is no question her faith comes first.
You never had a moment's doubt about the decision about the transfusion?
Never have.
And you understand all the risks of not taking a transfusion?
I've been told the risk many times before, over and over again.
It's hard to imagine now, but not so long ago.
Okay, give me a little bit of that old soft shoe.
Stacy was this happy, mild-mannered teenager, a star student in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Around the corner, I think. Yeah.
But Stacy has spent the last 20 months trying to stay alive and going from doctor to doctor. Each one said that if she refuses to accept blood transfusions, she could die. In surgery, she might lose so much blood that only a transfusion could save her. Without the surgery, the tumor would kill her.
Her chance of significant problems, namely dying, was high.
One of Stacy's first doctors was neurosurgeon Stephen Bailey.
I was angry at their religion, at their church. And I won't hesitate to tell you or anyone else that, because I believe it's wrong.
Dr. Bailey briefly considered pursuing a court order to have Stacy forcibly transfused. But since Stacy was then almost 18, almost a legal adult, who had the right to make her own decisions, he decided against it.
First, it would have destroyed Stacy as a human. Second, I don't think I could have won.
But with Stacy refusing blood transfusions, Dr. Bailey became the first of several doctors who'd refused to operate.
I did not want to turn them away, but I also did not want to face the other possible consequences. Days of seeing a girl I had grown to really like and interact well with die before my eyes.
According to a book by a former Jehovah's Witness, there are dozens of recent cases where children and adults have died after refusing transfusions, including cases far less risky than Stacy's. But several U.S. Supreme Court decisions protect a person's right to reject medical treatment.
Do you think that your faith and Stacy's faith is being tested?
Sure. All along it's been, well, do we do what is correct? Or do we compromise somehow and maybe, benefit her medically?
We don't want our children to die as people think. Oh, you're crazy. You won't let them have a blood transfusion. That'll make everything okay. But we want our children to live because we love them just like any normal parent.
As the family was turned away by doctor after doctor, there was more bad news. The tumor in her brain was actually depleting blood from her body. Her blood count, the measure of her blood's ability to carry oxygen, had fallen, far below a normal level of 14 to about 4, a level so low it's widely considered incompatible with life, fatal. And Stacy, somehow still surviving, was scared.
And she told me at that point, she says, I'm kind of shaken now.
It was a turning point for the family. Her mom remembered that months earlier she had read an article in Time magazine about a hospital that specialized in medical procedures without transfusion.
Read it, thought, well, they're in the north, maybe they're too big, because sometimes you call people and they'll say, okay, we'll get back to you, and never get back to you.
Stacy's mom was concerned that her daughter's case might fall through the cracks in a big hospital near New York City. But time was running out. In tears, Stacy's mom picked up the phone.
They said, stop crying. Okay, stop crying.
That call began their long journey from their home in Louisiana to Englewood Hospital in a New Jersey suburb outside New York City.
Cassandra, how you doing?
Good. Okay, you're not crying on the phone.
Now you're crying in person.
And that's where they met nurse Sherry Ozawa, who'd been a big source of support to Stacy's family by telephone.
Hi, Stacy. Yeah, how you doing?
Nurse Azawa helps run a special program that caters to Jehovah's Witnesses with her colleague, Dr. Frank Forty. It's called Bloodless Medicine and Surgery.
Bloodless surgery is simply treating patients for any particular illness that they have with the intention of avoiding blood transfusions. I'm going to go over this with the nurses.
Dr. Forty would become Stacy's hematologist, her blood doctor.
So you have a kind of catch-22 here. You have a tumor that's ridding her body of blood, but to get the tumor out, you have to risk her life because she won't take a blood transfusion.
That's right.
Many physicians caution that the limits of bloodless surgery are being tested with every new case that comes through the door, particularly high-risk and rare ones like Stacy's. But Dr. Forty defends taking on risky cases.
I don't feel that this is an unwarranted experimentation or a way of treating people that's not fair. Most of the people who say they will not take a transfusion will not change their mind.
Your view is that the patient's desire to avoid a transfusion is paramount to your obligations to save his or her life.
I think so. I think we have to stay within the guidelines of somebody's beliefs.
So you've had patients die who you think you could have saved with a transfusion?
That's correct.
Would Stacy share that grim fate?
Here you see the tumor, and you see how it's pushing the brainstem all the way to the other side. This is a very, very dangerous situation.
Dr. Abe Steinberger, the neurosurgeon who would try to remove her tumor, stressed that surgery like the one Stacy needed would be perilous for anyone.
A surgery like this can lead to stroke?
Yes.
Brain damage?
Yes.
Paralysis?
Yes.
Loss of speech?
Yes.
Death?
Yes.
So the danger level couldn't be much higher.
That's correct.
You do hundreds of brain surgeries a year. Is it one of the most difficult cases you've ever taken on?
The total constellation of other factors makes this possibly the most complex case I've seen.
And you've seen a lot of cases.
Yes, I have.
And although the risk of Stacy dying was multiplied immeasurably by her refusing transfusions, the team at Englewood's Bloodless Medicine program was willing to take on the challenge.
If Stacy, as we all hope, comes out of this hole, will it be miraculous?
It all depends on what you define as a miracle. Is it defined as a miracle as something that someone else said couldn't be done? In that sense, yes, it would be a miracle.
But would that miracle turn out to be good, a good miracle, or a bad miracle? When we come back, the surgery begins. And the prayer has already begun. Stay with us. Returning to our story. There was a tumor going in Stacy's brain. But it was against her religion to even go for the surgery. But now she needed that surgery. Could anything happen, or could they go against it? Once again, here's Barbara Bazell.
Finally, Stacy found a team of doctors who had agreed to risk operating on her brain tumor and respect her religious beliefs.
Even if she is dying, and without a blood transfusion she will die, we will not transfuse her. That's why this is such a dangerous operation.
But Stacy's blood count, the measure of her blood's capacity to carry vital oxygen through her body, had dropped again.
We'd love it to be higher, it's not.
It was now well below a level considered compatible with life. Normal is about 14. Stacy's was just above 3.
Well, how low can you go? How could Stacy be walking around close to 3?
The answer is different for everybody, but I'm not trying to evade you because I'll tell you the truth, I'm not sure.
Okay, not bad. 1.06.
Somehow Stacy's body had adapted. She was hanging on, but not even Dr. Forty was certain how low she could go and still survive.
It's going to be 3 times a day before you eat.
To diminish the danger as much as possible, Dr. Forty prescribed a regimen of vitamins, minerals, and a special drug. If the regimen worked, it would be a short-term solution to temporarily bolster Stacy's blood count,
so she could have the surgery.
And I'd rather take it from your arm than from your finger.
After 5 days, another test of Stacy's precious blood. She tried drugs to stimulate her blood before, but to no avail. Would Dr. Forty's prescription work now, so she could have surgery soon? Or was her blood count still slipping?
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
What would you like to hear today? First things first.
Some good stuff.
All right, the hemoglobin is 5.7.
Is it?
And how much did you come in here with? 3.2 or something like that?
5.7 was big news.
How are you feeling?
Dr. Forty's regimen had given Stacy her first blood boost since she'd gotten sick.
So we'll keep pushing to see how far we can go. If things got into trouble, I don't care what the hemoglobin is. I think we would just go ahead and do what we can.
It's still far from the blood count of 10 or more that everyone was hoping for. And as much as they tried, there was still a sense of desperation the family couldn't shake. Stacy had a long way to go. She was still too weak to walk on her own, or to join her parents in a congregation near the hospital to pray that her blood count would continue to rise. And it did, from 5.7 to 5.9, and then 6.3, nearly twice the blood count she had the day she was wheeled into Dr. Forty's office.
They're saying, this is wonderful, this is good, but we're going for as high as we can get.
But the family's optimism faded fast because Stacy's blood count didn't go any higher after that reassuring rise. In fact, it dropped. The doctors had no choice. Even though Stacy's blood count was less than half what it should be, it was now or maybe never. It was time for surgery. The day had come for her to take the risk that so few outside her religion could understand.
Right.
Dr. Steinberger checked to make sure Stacy hadn't changed her mind.
Okay. We've explained to you the risks, and we just need you to sign it where it says signature of the patient.
But she was steadfast. No transfusions, no matter what. There was no turning back now. Her parents said goodbye, not knowing whether they would see Stacy alive again.
Okay, let's calculate the circulating blood volume.
Inside the operating room, doctors used a combination of technologies to recirculate any blood Stacy lost.
No problem, none of them left.
Her blood loss was minimal so far, but the surgery turned out to be more complex than Stacy's medical team had anticipated. Nurse Azawa tried to reassure Stacy's parents.
So it's taken them a little longer to get down to where the tumor is. But she's doing fine. Everything's fine.
Then, after hours of continued work,
Dr. Steinberger?
Yes.
finally, doctors would learn for certain whether the tumor was cancer and could spread, or whether it was self-contained and benign. Enough of the tumor was out for a hospital lab to call in a report.
Endorsal tumor consistent with a cellular meningioma.
Thank you very much. It's a benign tumor. Now, this is a benign tumor, and you can take it all out. You can cure it.
Finally, some good news for Stacy's anxious family.
They did pathology already. The tumor's benign. So, if they get it all out, she's cured. So, if we get it all out today, or they get it all out later, the good thing is that it's good news. Happy news.
But back in the operating room, Stacy's brain tumor was still not completely out.
We're taking a lot of it out, but we are losing some blood here.
The medical team continued to work for several more hours, until they feared Stacy could lose too much blood, and they could lose her if they went after the rest.
We're going to close.
They'd removed most of the tumor, but now, even though Stacy lived through the surgery, so much could still go wrong.
You can do the best operation and think there will be no problems, but when they wake up, they are very ill neurologically. There's a possibility that she would die or remain in a coma or in a vegetative state or paralyzed. There are all kinds of horrendous complications that can arise from brain surgery.
All anyone could do was wait and pray. Was Stacy out of the woods?
Okay, Nancy, can you hear me? Hi, Stacy. Squeeze my hand. Yes.
These and other tests during the first few days after surgery proved it.
Yeah? We can see? How many things do I have up?
Stacy had no brain damage. It was a great relief to her medical team.
She's had a truly remarkable recovery.
That must be awfully satisfying.
It sure is.
The fraction of tumor that remained was removed later in a second surgery. And 3 months afterwards, Dateline visited Stacy's family at their home in Baton Rouge.
So, Stacy, how do you feel?
Well, I feel terrific considering how I've been feeling over the past couple of years. I mean, it seems like I'm back to normal now. I'm driving, and I'm out shopping at the mall, and sometimes I even outshop my mom.
Her blood count is back up to normal, around 14.
Backwards is sort of hard, so.
She's in physical therapy, working on recovering her balance, her strength, and the nearly 40 pounds she lost.
3 sets of 20?
Yes.
Even as she's getting stronger physically, emotionally, she's grappling with the gravity of what she's endured.
Did you think you were going to die?
I don't know, it was something that was really unsure in my mind because there were so many questions about whether or not the surgery could be done. I was prepared to die faithfully because there's nothing that's worth risking my relationship with God.
We thank you for the things that you allow us to provide for ourselves.
Her parents also are confident that the risks were worth it.
If Stacy had died and you hadn't opted for a transfusion, how do you think you would have thought about your decision in hindsight?
It still would have been the correct decision. I know that sounds maybe sort of cold and straightforward, but a decision that is correct no matter what happens.
Sister Singletary.
We see that in Mark chapter 1. A leper came to Jesus and begged him to cure his sickness.
Stacy's life still revolves to a great extent around being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. But like most teenagers, she's also striking out on her own, enjoying the independence she lost while sick, especially cruising around in the post-operation present from her parents, her first car. She's returning to school.
I'm calling about violin lessons.
Putting her life back together.
Coming that close to being permanently disabled and not really having lived a teenager's life showed me that right now is the time I need to get out and start doing some things that I really want to do.
Hospitals throughout the country are increasingly using blood-saving technologies, even when they don't have dedicated bloodless surgery programs. You can get more information about bloodless medicine from our website. The address is dateline.msnbc.com.
That would be cool to look into, bloodless surgery. Wow. Just wow. Alright. The way it works is, first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes dad trying to change a diaper. Now, it doesn't rhyme, but as you'll see in tonight's viral break, it's got a certain rhythm.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. You poop.
What's that smell? No. Did you poop? No. It's your turn.
No, it's your...
Oh, it smells. Crew. Oh. Bad. Oh. Oh, no. No, I can't. I can't.
Babe, it's not...
No. I can't, dude.
That's how dads react. Dad's cat reflex. I'll tell you, Now how about when the chill dad finds out you got suspended?
What now, Karen? Nick got suspended from school, okay, for what? Oh, for sticking up for himself. You know what? You stay right here. I'm gonna go pick him up, okay? Chill out. Get your ass in the car! Dude, I'm just messing with you. Look at your face! Look at your face!
Can I get down?
All right, what do you want? Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How about different such dads when their kid gets in a fight at school?
With Pro-Plan Sport, incredible happens here.
Look at your face!
Here's the thing though, violence does not solve anyone's problems. Even if your dad would be proud of you for, even if your father would be proud of you for getting into a fight, you know that violence is wrong. Mom told me I got in a fight at school. Did you win? That's how it would be. That's my boy. I'm proud of you. No, it's like, you're grounded.
Look at your face, son. You on some dumb shit. I sent you to school to learn. Why you doing this bullshit, man? I spent $80,000 a semester to go to that school. If you get kicked out, it's not your money you wasted. It's my money. You a good kid that goes to a good school, act like it. What this dumb shit you been doing, man?
I just got one question.
Yes, sir.
Did you win?
Yes, sir.
You good with me? You good with me? That's all I want to know. You good with me? If your mom asks, I'll take your phone, okay?
Okay.
Line us, I'll take your phone.
Okay.
Right, we out. Okay, I see. You like to bullshit around in school when you're supposed to be learning, huh? All right, say less. When you get to the house, got another box of math with your old man.
No.
Let's see if you still want to fool around after that. You remember where the gloves are?
In the garage.
Okay, because if you didn't, I would have went to the store and got some new ones.
Get ready.
That's not that serious.
What you mean it's not that serious? Look at your face. Looks like you decided to go emo then quit halfway through. Give me his address. You getting your rematch tonight.
Dad, come on.
Give me, I'm not gonna repeat myself. Give me that goddamn address. You getting your rematch tonight. And you better win this time. Say it.
777.
Keep it coming. Tell me the rest.
You did what I told you to do?
Yes, sir. Fly up.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Now think twice before you mess with you again. Uh-huh. Just put some ice on it when we get on. You'll be alright. Good shit. Good shit. Good shit.
This is what it would be like. We don't go to school to fight. We go to school to learn.
We don't go to school to fight. We go to school to learn.
They started it. Should have never started it. I don't play like that. That's not my game. I don't play games. I'm not about to play games with you guys. I bet that starts for like a couple days. After those couple days, that's it. But you better, if there's no starter coming, oh, you beat it up. You got.
We don't go to school to fight. We go to school to learn. That's what kids are going to school for. The bottom line here is this. For you dads out there, don't be proud of your son getting in a fight. Did you? I mean, if they won, they won. I mean, if he's trying to start a fight, but he's sure. I mean, if he's starting a fight, then they'll finish it.
Mama, 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 mama.
What?
I don't want to go to school.
Why?
No, I don't want to go to school.
Why?
Because I'm going to break the rules.
Why?
I can't even read books.
Why?
Because I don't want to 2 + 2.
Why?
I just want to eat food.
Why?
Teacher say I'm too rude.
Why?
Mama, because I'm too cool.
Why?
I don't want to go to school.
Why?
I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school.
Why?
I'm just tired of school. No, Landy, you are going to.
It's kind of one of my favorites. This is kind of one of my favorites. And coming on a little, somewhat, Throwback Thursday, we're going to look back at our favorite viral breaks we've done, including the I don't want to go to, including the AI version especially from this one.
Mama, 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 mama. What? I don't wanna go to school. Why? No, I don't wanna go to school. Why? Cause I'm gonna break the rule. Why? I can't even read book. Why? Cause I don't wanna 2 + 2. Why? I just wanna eat food. Why? Teacher say I'm too rude. Why? Mama, cause I'm too cool. Why? I don't wanna go to school. Why? I don't wanna go to school. I don't wanna go to school. Why? I'm just tired of school. No, Landy, you are going to Mama.
You're going to school. This one's one of my favorites.
Mama, 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 mama. What? I don't wanna go to school. Why? No, I don't wanna go to school. Why? Cause I'm gonna break the rule. Why? I can't even read book. Why? Cause I don't wanna 2 + 2. Why? I just wanna eat food. Why? Teacher say I'm too rude. Why? Mama, cause I'm too cool. Why? I don't wanna go to school. Why? I don't wanna go to school. I don't wanna go to school. Why? I'm just tired of school. No, Landy, you are going to school.
Everybody's going. Here's another one.
Mama, 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 mama. What? I don't wanna go to school. Why? No, I don't wanna go to school. Why? Cause I'm gonna break the rule. Why? I can't even read book. Why? Cause I don't wanna 2 + 2. Why? I just wanna eat food. Why? Teacher say I'm too rude. Why? Mama, cause I'm too cool. Why? I don't wanna go to school. Why? I don't wanna go to school. I don't wanna go to school. Why? I'm just tired of school. No, Landy, you are going to school. Mama.
Or how about, or even this one. I ain't your mama. This 3 million views.
But you are my mama, Mom. You gotta stop listening to Jennifer Lopez.
But you are my mama. It's a new TikTok trend. Speaking of which, TikTok may be banned on April 5th. What's that going to mean? I'll let you know next week. 2 weeks from now. But next week, a very important issue here. It's all about teen pregnancy. Even a story about a 6th grader who got pregnant at 11. At 11 years old? And now a 16-year-old, now a 15-year-old is the father? You literally can't make the shit up like this if you want to watch more. Teen Pregnancy Week all next week. Saturday, a second look into the incident that happened over 30 years ago at Ruby Ridge. We'll hear from Randy Weaver, former FBI director, and the rest of the family. That's on Saturday. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Friday going to Saturday. We'll see you again for Give Me a Break Saturday night. For all of us here at YouTube, Give Me a Break. Stop bullying, speak up, concentration, not strength. No jaywalking. I'm John the Carmody. Have a good night.